Hello.
Hi. Hello.
Sorry, it was in Spanish. The words were in Spanish and I don't speak Spanish. So I had to use Google Translate to see what it meant when I read on the Google Hangouts.
Oh.
It's okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I got it.
So I read like an email from Christy that she was not going to
Oh, it
attend
worked.
the meeting.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
I saw that.
Hi.
You.
What?
Oh, He was saying he got mail from Christy saying that she won't be able to make it tonight.
Yeah, I got that too. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna move, and I have to go get my kids kisses goodnight really fast. But I'll be 2 seconds. I'll be really fast.
Okay.
I have to go say goodnight to him really fast. Hang on. Sorry, guys. It's been a crazy day for me. Hey, Josh. Riley's crying. Can you take care of her? What? Riley's crying. Okay. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I am ready. My daughter has the flu or something today. I don't know what it is, but she's been throwing up all day. I feel so bad for her.
Poor girl.
I know. I feel it's so sad when they're sick, when they're so little, because I don't understand why they can't eat, you know, because they keep throwing everything up and they're hungry, but yeah, I feel bad. But anyway, that's been my crazy day. So is Paul coming, you think, or?
Do we start or we?
I think we should go ahead and start, because who knows how long he's going to be.
Coming. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's up to you guys.
So. Okay. So,
I'm fine starting whenever.
okay. So I will read the instruction of the group activity. That is okay for you?
Yeah? Yeah.
Okay, so group activity of non-verbal communication. As individuals go to some place where you can observe a lot of people, a restaurant, a mall, a gym, and observe the message people send without words. Spend at least half an hour observing different people and groups. Take detailed notes. This is research. Write out your notes and conclusions and submit as part of this assignment. Well, then meet with your group using Google Hangouts and your group meeting, compare results, and share your findings. Observe couples in various stages of relationships. Observe groups. Observe people who are alone. Answer the following questions. So, I think that we need to discuss and compare our findings. What do we take notes? I guess.
Paul just sent an email.
What?
It looks like he doesn't have permission to enter the video, but I think it says no tienes permiso para iniciar esta videollamada.
Llamada.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I think that means video call, that he doesn't have permission.
I don't know.
What should I do?
I don't know. I'm not sure what that means. I'm not very familiar with Google Hangouts. So I don't really know.
Oh, it means that he is not able to join us. Well, he's not allowed for starting the video call, right? But he just needs to join. I make this public for anyone can join.
Yeah, when I joined, I had to check the box at the bottom.
Yeah, check the box, and then I couldn't read it, but I just checked the box too, and just clicked the button that looked green. So maybe we should just tell him to do that.
Maybe. I figured it was terms and conditions.
You want to email him and tell him to do that?
Yes. Anyone can send an email to Paul, one of you, explaining. He should check the box.
I should check the box and just click the green button, even though he can't understand what it says.
Yeah.
Slide chat. Here's it. Okay, so okay, I will send a request for joining. Let me copy the poll. Mm, okay. Sure. So I sent an request, an invitation for his mail. I think that should works.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Mohammed. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
So are we supposed to
Okay.
share what we observed, right?
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Okay. Who wants to go
Who's
first?
going first?
Well, I can go first. So I took a look at the group activity instructions today. Big mistake. I should have looked earlier. But anyway, so I decided to go on to the BYU Idaho campus because I live only like 10 minutes away.
Oh,
So I
nice.
went on to campus and observed a lot of students, and it's really interesting. The students there, I went to the crossroads, like the food court that they have in the seating area. And so when the students that get there, they're either sitting alone doing homework or they're in groups of 2 or 3 people. So it's a little bit different observing them. So some of them were excluding themselves from groups. They were looking down at their laptops and looking at their phones and just working on homework. You could tell they didn't want to be in a group because they were always looking down. And in the groups, they were facing each other, kind of looking at each other, kind of facing their own food so they could eat, and conversing that way. And you could tell when people are dating or getting serious in their relationships because they sit close to each other, they hold hands, stuff like that. And so some of the people, what does the way a person walks tell you? Some of them were couples holding hands. They were walking close together. Some people were looking down at their phones and talking on their phones. And I thought that meant they just have a social life. And so they're just trying to take care of that and multitask. And when some people, when they walk like that, it's like they're closed off. They don't want other people to interact with them. And let's see, gestures. It seemed like the men and the women use gestures at about the same rate, but women's gestures seem to be a bit more free-flowing, like la, 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 and men's gestures like this, and more, they had more structure to them. I don't know a better way to explain it. I couldn't tell who was using more eye contact because, they're kind of looking at each other and looking at their food and eating. And who uses more space? I think the men use a little bit more space when they sit. What can you tell about a person by their physical appearance? Well, a lot of them were students. They were dressed for devotional. Well, some of them. So some of them were wearing nice Sunday clothes, and some of them just jeans and T-shirts. You could tell if they were working for the school. Like in food service, they had a red shirt, black pants, a black. So they had their uniforms. How do humans show their territoriality? How do they claim their territory? So like they would put their backpacks on chairs and spread out their stuff on the table, kind of like, this is my space. And yeah, that was basically what I observed. And then a few random things at the devotional. The women's choir, after they were done practicing their musical number before the devotional, a few of them were like adjusting their hair and straightening it. So I thought it was kind of funny. I just looked up and saw like 7 or 8 different women doing that. And the thing I observed is that the women seemed to speak louder than the men. And the women were more prone to laugh. That's what I observed.
Awesome. I did this last night because I didn't, I have my kids with me all the time, so I did it like in the evening, it was kind of harder because I went to the mall nearby here. It's a huge mall, and I went to the food court, and it was still pretty busy, but it was like 8 o'clock at night, so it wasn't as ideal, but it worked out. But the things that I noticed the most were like most people who were like alone, they either were like kind of fidgeting a lot, like they like move their legs up and down, like bounce them, and they'd fidget and they'd be like kind of looking around aimlessly, or else they'd be on their phone. Like it was either they're looking around aimlessly or they'd be on their phone. There wasn't any other options really that I noticed when they were by themselves. And then I noticed people who were like when they were, let's see, standing aside. But yeah, like I noticed like a group of 3 girls, and you could tell which ones were more shy and which ones weren't just by looking at them walking together. Because like there's one girl on the side who was talking, and you could tell she was she looked more outgoing, more confident, because she was like using lots of hand gestures, and she was talking really animatedly. She was very open with her face and her hands. And the girl next to her was kind of the same, and the girl on the far end had her arms by her, cross over her whole body while she was walking with them, and was more hunched and kind of apart from them more. So you could tell she probably was more either shy or just not maybe as close to the 2 girls. I don't know. And then noticed one pair of people who were walking by, and they were very far apart, like weirdly far apart. Usually when you're walking with someone, you're usually at least like a foot or 2. But they were probably like 5 feet apart from each other as they were walking. It was interesting. And she had like this frown on her face. I don't know if she was mad at the guy or something. I don't know. It was interesting.
That doesn't sound good.
Yeah. And I also noticed like all the teenagers, like young couples that were like teenage couples tended to hold hands a lot and like kind of be all over each other. Whereas older couples I noticed were kind of more, they'd be side by side, but they wouldn't be like having to constantly touch each other. They were okay being away from each other a little bit. So that's kind of it. And with flirting, girls smiling a lot, hair flipping, and the boy kind of looked nervous that was flirting, so had like a nervous smile on his face, kept looking away and at her in a way. So, but I noticed this whole time that I really suck at reading body language. I was trying to watch people, and it was hard to pick up on those things, hard to notice them, because I think it's so subconscious, a lot of it, that you don't really, it's hard to actually like put names to things and notice things specifically. So it was tough for me. I don't know, I felt like a creepy stalker, but
sounds like you picked up on it pretty well though.
I don't know. Those are kind of the obvious ones. I didn't notice anything like micro expressions, whatever they're called, and they'll lie to me. But yeah.
So that's my turn.
Yep.
No. Yes.
Yes. I am done.
Yeah. Okay. So well, I wasn't able to like go to a mall because I'm not in my hometown, but I like perform this experiment in I am working with some of my customers, so in their business I like try this experiment. So I make a summary or starting like when I watch women's group. So I watched some women groups while they were working in one of our customer business. Like I was able to perceive some feelings and behavior by just observing some of their nonverbal communication. Well, as an example, I perceived that some of them were tired and all others were bored, like bored about why they were working. I perceived this by observing their facial expressions. So another thing that I could perceive was that some of them were a little stressed and others were just like angry. I realized that because of their paralinguistic. One of them was talking to another a little bit loud, but at the same time she was like touching his hair and face as she was thinking like, oh, I'm stressed with this. Another woman was angry. I know it because of her voice tone and also because of her facial expressions. Well, I mean, one supervisor was saying her something that she did wrong, and she was like, "What? Are you crazy?" So she tells me that she was uncomfortable and she was really angry. By the other hand, there were a few having, well, a small group having a conversation. Well, I didn't realize, I didn't knew about what they were talking about, but because of their laughs and their smiles and their impression, the gestures, it was like she were like talking, having a conversation of a fun experience. So also I see a woman like talking by her cell phone. So by like looking at her eyes and her gesture and her facial expression, it was like she was transmitting that she was in love. I guess that she was talking with her boyfriend or her husband. Well, I don't know, but this I was able to perceive that by seeing that this kind of behavior and her move. So also I see a men's group. Well, they were more quieter. I mean, they were more concentrated in their working. Perhaps there was a few of them talking like in secret. By their gestures, and also their body language, I felt that they were talking about a secret, maybe about one of their coworkers. Another thing that I perceived was like they were more stressed than women. I perceived this in their facial expressions. Like they were more tired. Maybe it could be because of the kind of work. Like they were performing hard working, like in comparison for the of the women's work. So also I perceive that this group didn't use so much haptics. I don't. I well I know that like men are more like introverted and like reserved of how they show their emotions. Like they didn't show their emotions in France. In comparison that women like they were pushing and joking between them. And also, well, there was a man like, well, I see a man, the manager of this business, like by talking by his cell phone, and he was really stressed. I mean, he was shouting aloud. His face was filled of anger. Also, his gesture was like he was willing to punch and kick anyone. Also, he was like transmitting something like deception, and at the same time, like worriedness. I thought that maybe something about the business was wrong, maybe lower profit or something. Well, as a conclusion in my experiment, like the people that I watched in this group were men between 20 and 60 years old, and women between 25 and 40. Like there were no children and babies. Well, finally, the way that people see it can tell me like how they're feeling the moment, if they are tired, if they are stressed. Also, the way that they see it, like tell me if they are interested in the conversation of the topic that they are talking about. Well, the way that people walk also, like for me, shows me about their confidence, about if they are hurry up, and also I can perceive about their health. And well, I think that also a little about their intentions. Also, when people are having conversation, like the most gesture and use is with their hands, like demonstrating interest about the topic, like like moving their hands. Okay, like if they were telling, like, okay, tell me more. Also, moving their heads, so transmit a lot of attention and perception of the topic. Um, I perceive that women use more eye contact. Also, that men used to keep more distance, like they keep their distance when they are talking, in comparison with the women that like they were all gathered together very close. So I perceive that difference. Also about the self appearance, like I think that it is so important because it said a lot about our self care. I also realize that humans show like territoriality, um, like putting some stuff like around them, so that is a sign of that they don't want like people around them. So I think that's all.
Okay.
That's all what I mean.
Paul replied to me. He said he got my link email, but it says he's not authorized to access it. So I don't know.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, but I seem to be shut out of the class.
Maybe if I send a link and then we all join on that link.
Okay,
Maybe
try?
Yeah, we can try it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. So are we
Okay,
hanging up this call then?
if that's what you guys would like to do.
I don't care.
I don't know who needs to help Paul.
Yeah.
I will send also another invitation to him.
Oh, okay, yeah, you could send an invitation first one more time and see if he is able to, and if not, I'm pulling this up just in case.
So his messenger is clearoutmoniers@gmail.com. So, invite.
He sent me
Okay.
proof I have joined and attended the class. I don't understand that. He sent me a YouTube video.
He might be worried that he's not going to get credit if he's not able to connect.
Yeah. I think it's only like a point though. It's funny.
All right, we'll see if this works first, and if not, then we will try something else.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you guys both mentioned the territory things. I could not figure that out. I was like, I don't know how humans show territory. Like, I couldn't think of it, but that makes a lot of sense. Like when you're out in public, having like, there's stuff all around you, and that makes a lot of sense. People always do that when they want to have space.
Yeah, it's not like dogs where you can just pee on something to mark it.
Exactly. It'd be a little awkward if we did that.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah.
All right.
Keep getting. Oh.
Okay.
Technology, so much fun.
I know. That's the one annoying thing about online classes is that they make you, try to connect with people online. And it's hard with technology if, someone has a bad internet connection or something. It just gets all complicated. Than
Yeah.
meeting face-to-face with people.
I think that it will be more easy by Skype, by using Skype, I think.
That's true.
Maybe.
We could always try Skype next time.
Yeah, we could try.
Yeah.
So what else we should discuss? Or
I think, let's see. We have to discuss the rules of touching.
We should.
Imagine that a friend from another country comes to you for help. So to talk about different cultures with touching in different cultures.
Oh, there is Paul.
Oh, you made it?
I think.
Yay!
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
I've had a hard time trying to get hold of you people.
Hello.
Sorry.
No, you're
Yeah.
good.
But
It worked
not-
out.
now that you've seen what I wasn't intending to send that to you, but I thought that great on the last time that I missed out on a meeting. So I better send something to prove that I was at the meeting.
Yeah.
You're okay.
But I didn't complete it. I was only sending it to prove that I tried to join the meeting.
Oh.
No big
And
deal.
it's nice seeing you people.
Yeah. Well,
But this is the can you excuse me a minute before I get this is the second time that was the last time. You remember the one that I told you about that I got a bad grade for that one?
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was shut out like this, and that's why I sent that URL so to prove that I was making the effort to join the meeting.
Better
Yeah.
safe than sorry.
Well,
But what are you doing?
well, it
You people.
says we have to make an outline of the rules of touching in our culture between like an adult and a 5-year-old, an adult and a 12-year-old, and two good friends, boss and employee. So we have to discuss the different rules of touching between people in our culture. But I don't know how about, I mean, we're obviously in America, but you guys are in different cultures, so I'm not sure. But we'll have to kind of, it'd be interesting to see what the different rules are for our different cultures.
So what are you discussing?
We're discussing, well, go ahead, Julian.
Just the different rules that society has for touching. You know, like if you give someone a handshake, does your society say it's only okay to give handshakes to certain people, or do you give handshakes to everybody, or do you give them hugs? That kind of thing.
Yeah, okay.
What are the rules
Yeah.
of touching in your
How
society?
how do we feel and think of that? Is that what it is?
Yeah, so, so like,
Sorry, go ahead.
oh no, you're good. It says the first one is supposed to be like, what are the rules between like an adult and a 5-year-old child, for instance? Like what's okay for them versus to adults? You know, like how, like with a 5-year-old, like it's okay to pick them up. It's okay to hug them more, you know, versus like an adult, you can't really do that as much with a stranger. So
Yeah.
at least that's how it is here.
Where's the information of this thing? I honestly, I'm lost.
Oh, you mean like
Where-
what I'm reading from?
Yeah.
It's under group activity on nonverbal communication instructions. It's in lesson 6.
Oh, no wonder I didn't read that.
No big deal.
Oh. Oh well.
Alright.
I think this is the effort that I have made, is to get the info from you guys. But
Mhm.
thank you, Lisa. It's nice talking to you people.
Yeah.
But now, so you know, so we have to submit that when. Oh, now I remember. 2 days time. That's the only thing that I read is when we have to submit it. It's the 19th. Is that right?
I think it's due on Saturday actually, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it says due October
Oh, wow.
21st.
Thank you.
That's,
You are all lifesavers.
Mountain.
You are all lifesavers.
And
See, I went through the thing, and I thought, oh, what was that? And now I learned that there's a very oh well, I have to go back and read the stuff then. Yeah. Because I didn't read it, I just saw it. And I thought, oh, it says the 19th, so that means But that's okay.
Yeah.
Now I got the info. And how are you doing with your speech? Now that you've seen my little rough copy of my one.
Oh. I don't know. I haven't even started my speech yet because it's not until next week. So I haven't even started it.
Well, you
I've
are
got an
all
outline.
good. You are all good. You can just scribble anything on paper. But with me, I have to go through the it's very hard for me. Don't forget, this is my second language.
Mm-hmm.
And coming from Samoan and then translated into English, well, can you imagine if I do my presentation in Samoan? Would anyone would anyone like it?
I would like it.
I know no one will.
I think it'd be fun to
No
hear
one will like it.
Samoan.
Very funny.
But what I am trying to say is that it's very difficult for someone, and I'm sure it's brother your thing, but I'm sure you were born in. I mean, were you born in America? Oh no, you were born in. Now I just remember your introduction. I don't know if you got the same problem as I do, you know, having to, but I'm sure you living in America and attending school there, there's a difference. Because I didn't attend all of my life schooling here in New Zealand, and it makes it hard. But anyway, we are supposed to be doing this week.
Yes. So I'm not sure how it is in like your guys' countries, but in America, it's funny how between adults and 5-year-olds, I feel like women have a lot more freedom to with touch versus men, because men, people are always so worried about men being perverts or being creepers, and so
That's true.
Pedophilias.
Yeah.
Pedophilias.
Yeah, pedophiles. Yeah, so because here, like women can hug a 5-year-old child. They can pick them up. They can even give them a kiss. I think is appropriate on the forehead. For a 5-year-old. But men, I think, have a lot more restraints than that. So, do you agree, Julianne?
I think it depends on the part of the country. Like in some parts of the U.S., the culture that's perfectly fine. In other parts of the U.S., it's more formal, where you don't necessarily touch children, but you can shake their hands when you're meeting them. Or if you are like their aunt or their uncle or another family member, it's okay to hug them and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it depends on the subculture in the United States.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Well,
yeah.
In your country, it's the same all over the world. The world is now multicultural.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's regardless of what we say, you may be living next door to someone of a totally different culture and that sort of thing. Like here, it's the same all over. Here in New Zealand, it's the same. And I think it's the same. I am trying to point out that everyone has a different attitude. Like, see, with me, I love the young kids. It's not that I am a pedophile.
Yeah.
I just love it as because I love children. See, I got a young girl that was fostered by my daughter, and at the moment she's the youngest person in my family. And I'll give the word to that girl. If anything happens to her, I'll kill myself for her. It's as I said, everyone's got a different approach to life. With me, I love children, and I am sure some people wonder at me when they see me laughing at the supermarket when I see kids. Well, I just thought, oh, kids are kids. They are just playing to the innocent little thing, and I love looking at them. And I wonder sometimes if people look at me and wonder, what is that old man doing? So, yeah, it's sad, but that's how I felt. And it's, being a Samoan and with my skin as brown as black as it is, some people will wonder if I'm one of those people. But, we all have different everything in life. Won't you say so, Brother Yoke? Is it how to pronounce your name, Brother Yoki or?
Yes.
How to pronounce your name?
Jorge.
Okay.
Jorge. Or George.
Okay. But I don't know. You may have a different view of that.
Well, in my country, it's like some like it's people is always like watching, like trying to find situations of, I don't know how to say, like kidnapping or
Oh yeah.
what?
Oh yeah.
It's
I'm
like
just agreeing. Okay.
Yeah, kidnap.
it's like
For the worst
like,
scenario.
it's somehow like dangerous, like when someone took another children, and I don't know how to say that word, like it's like K-I-N, yeah, kidnap. Oh,
Yeah, to kidnap someone.
like, yeah, it's like some, like in the street you like, if you see a child like hugging some like stranger, and the child is like screaming, or you feel that sensation that the kid is in danger, like people is always like looking that. I think that is something that, well, if you are like a familiar, if you are a father and now, or something familiar for a kid, it's okay to hug and to kiss them. But well, I have like experienced some, like being in the park and there is a child, and there come strangers and try to like holding him, and the child start to scream, and something like that. I have experienced some. Well, I have noted that situations, like people is always like looking that, because in the news every day well, in my country we see those crimes like kidnapping.
Yeah, they're
Somehow
advertised a lot more, so it's a lot more, makes us a lot more fearful of that situation.
yeah, that's the word, fearful. Yeah, they are like fear. They have fear of that situations.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point, because I feel like with strangers, there's a lot more boundaries with touching than with close friends or family, with kids especially.
Yeah.
As I said,
And even in the church, like I remember that my mother always told me that it doesn't matter if like a man is a member of the church of my ward, I should like keep my distance. And she really she taught me that when I was a little child, and I think that helped me a lot, because there are situations that can occur even with church member, and I always like told to my wife, well, as you know, I have daughter, and this is like more delicate, so I try to like teach them like they should keep their distance with strangers for avoid those situations.
well, how about you, Carol? What do Carissa has said her part, and how about her?
Oh, Julianne. Yeah, Julianne
Julianne.
already. Yeah, she already talked about some stuff too, didn't you? Did you have anything more to say?
No.
No, okay. Now, in the view of the adults, women in the church, we have our boundaries as priesthood holders. We are not supposed to be alone with a woman. And even going home teaching, as I am going home teaching tonight, because it's only 3 o'clock here in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So I'm going home teaching after the meeting. So we are not supposed to go by ourselves to do your home teaching. We tried so many times and asked the bishop. And bishop said, you know the teaching of the church, you're not supposed to do so. That way, it limits our time to, for woman to a woman, it's good. Isn't that right, girls?
Yes.
Would you agree with me?
It's like seeing like the
Yes.
society, so it's normal, something normal, like.
Yeah, it's something normal to woman. But I mean, the likes of Brother Yogi and myself, we are limited to those things. Isn't that right, Yogi?
Yes, that's true.
And to me, just a handshake, that will do. Because I'll give you an example, because I've been there, done that, and worse. I'll tell you something that when I was young, about your ages, I was really bad with that side of life. And if my wife is sitting next to me and I want to get away from her and talk to a woman, don't think that I am giving you a point where you can tell that a person is coming down hard on a person. He talks, the man that is, and my wife, this is part of the reasons why my wife was so far away from me. And I'm not very happy about it, because now I realize it is me the problem, not my wife. Because as I said when I was young, to find a way to talk to a woman that I want and like, I know I shouldn't be telling you this, sisters. But it's the truth. And I will make a way to distract my wife so I can get what I want. And from then, now I have come back to the church, get anywhere near the sisters or it's not that I am, it's not one of those people, but to avoid the temptation, it's best not to, like President Yudov said, it's best not to put the nose of the plane into the storm. Because once we do that, you'll find that the people, the temptation, Satan will be there, and you will never know what's going to happen. So that's my opinion. Don't take it from what I am saying, but now you learn that men are different as well. So I don't,
Yeah.
And I suppose on vice versa, when a woman talks to a man, well, I don't know. That's your part, girls. Tell that, because I've just told you what a man, can do.
Yeah.
to say, to touch a woman, just a handshake. And that's my explanation of the way that I now come back to the church, and I don't want to go back to where I was.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the story of my life.
Well,
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
No, it's your turn.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think you had a good point about the with adults. I feel like if it's a lot more formal, especially between opposite genders. Usually, like a handshake is appropriate, and like maybe between good friends, a hug is usually acceptable. But I feel like if usually it's a sign of a woman flirting if she touches another guy like on his knee or something. That's usually like a sign of flirting if you actually touch them in other ways besides hugging or handshake. So even hugging, I guess, can be flirting, but I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on your relationship to the person.
Yeah, how close you are to them.
Yeah.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. So with the Boston employee thing, what are you guys' thoughts on that?
The which?
So
Boss and employee.
yeah, like the rules of touch for a Boston employee.
Past employees.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I think unless you are friends with them outside of work, usually the only kind of touch that is acceptable is a handshake.
Yeah.
Because work is usually a lot more formal.
And even then, I can't remember ever even shaking the hand of my bosses ever. But I never had like any formal job. I had like, restaurant jobs. So you didn't really shake the hands of your managers at a restaurant, like, I don't know. But I never shook my boss's hands ever.
Yeah, me neither. I'm just saying that's the most you can do if it's.
I agree. Yeah. It's definitely a lot more formal in a work environment.
What you're saying is you only do it at work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
that's
that with the boss or the boss?
in the U.S. That's the way it is in the United States.
Well, now that my returning to the church has given me a lot. I'm not being self-righteous. Learned a lot on my return to the church, and I'm not happy about it. Sorry about the emotional, but these are things that I have experienced through life. And see, there are some good friends outside the church. And if you consider the teaching of the church and the two most important laws that the Lord has given to us is love the Lord and love thy neighbor as thyself. If you look at the past friend that you once, enjoy their company, and now you have come back, and you left the job and met them down the road, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to still be friends with them, or are you going to just ignore them?
I feel like I'd still want to be their friend. But that's just me personally.
It's very difficult for us as members of the church. Because if we do it the way we feel, then we go with the flow, go with whatever everyone is doing. If we do accept them as friends when you left the job, your boss and the other workers, it's a good thing to keep on in contact with those people. But once again, it may create friction in your life. Would that be true?
Yeah, definitely could.
Hmm.
Yes. Well, for me, like, well, in the factory that I work for, like, this relationship between bosses and employees is like, as you mentioned, like, keeping the distance, like with a lot of respect, and I think that maybe a shake hand is the most that we can will or like we can aspire. Well, in my something that I have like learned with the relationship with my boss is, well, it has helped me to develop a lot of uh, help me to be more humble, like humility, because, well, something that, well, my boss have is like, well, because he have his authority, and because of his position, he think that he don't like make mistakes. He always have the reason of whatever he said or he does, and because of I am just an employee, like I need like to accept whatever like he said, and sometimes it is not fair, or I know that I what I am doing or what I am saying is right, and sometimes he is wrong, but he is my boss, and I always try to like I cannot like having like sorry this disputes or fight with him because he is my boss. I think that this kind of relation, well, in my personal case, had helped me to develop like for being more humble. Uh-huh.
Awesome.
That is very good, because now I can tell and feel that we are all coming from the teaching of the church, how you were brought up as members of the church, and how I was brought up at the time when I was young, but I have learned my lesson, and it cost me a lot of stuff. But now I've learned. But being the boss is always being the boss. He's the boss. But if you look at the situation where isolate the boss from just an individual worker in the same environment that you are working with the boss and, you know, a shop hand, are you say you're gonna, and never mind the you know, the other person that is secondary to the. To me now that Brother York is saying he humbled himself, I think that's the best approach to everything in life. It's being, you know, humble ourselves, and we can learn a lot of things from being humble. To be so cruel and mean, it always end up in some unrealistic actions or confrontation. Or so to me, I think the one that you're approaching, Brother York, you're approaching your workplace perfect. Because and he laughed. But that to me is it's a good training. I mean, we learn this a lot from what the church is, from our leaders, and now you are the future of the church. Don't get me wrong, you're still young. I am old. I'm only building my hopes for the next life, but regardless of that, I am still God's child. So that's part of my, you know, my input for, to the past employee and being the bosses as well. But if you say, Carissa, you haven't shake your boss's hand,
Yeah, well, I mean, I only had a couple jobs in my life. Like actually, I've only had maybe 3 or 4 jobs, and most of the time, I mean, I guess looking back, I probably shook their hand when I first met them. When I was like interviewing for the job, I probably shook their hands. But
Yeah.
on a regular day-to-day work basis, I never remember really shaking hands very often or touching at all, you know. So
It's, which is good in the sense of the word and the work environment.
yeah,
And to me, it goes along with, it's, in line with the church teaching. If you don't show your
Yeah.
face to your bosses or your friend's house so often, well, it's the same meaning, principle. Don't shake the hands of your friends or your boss too often.
yeah,
That's good. So I am, coming back to the church, every time I talk about the church, I cry because I am jealous of you people. I am jealous of you. Not jealous, but I say I resent you. It's because I didn't neglect the church. I neglect everything that you have gone through. Even my children, I envy my children. And it's because of my own doing. Now I stand back and look, what? If Heavenly Father means I am, He'll probably won't give me this second chance of educating myself and coming back to the church. He may have been, I may have been dead by now as far as he's concerned. I can tell now that he has given me this chance, and I have to prove myself that I am worthy of what our Heavenly Father has given to me. And learning from you guys, it's great that I can help you a little. I know you have been brought up of goodly parents, and you have educated yourself well. That's all good. And as every leader is saying, you are the leaders of the church, the future leaders of the church. Hope that we are learning something out of this conversation.
Yeah, we're learning a lot.
Right?
And what about like college professor and students? What do you think about those kind of relationships?
that
No,
was
which?
but between a college professor and a student.
Yes.
I was kind of confused by that one because I feel like it's pretty similar to an employer versus employee. Maybe a little bit more personal, would you say? Maybe a little bit more personal than a work employee, but I still think it's pretty
Yeah.
formal.
Well,
It's a
once
little bit
again,
more personal.
Yeah.
it's the same thing as you said, Carissa. It's the same thing. If we differentiate the professor from us, I will make ourselves. If we distinct ourselves from sister, what's our instructors?
I forgot her name. Howard? Maybe?
Yeah. If we sort of distinct ourselves from her, then who are we? Are we brothers and sisters as far as God's concerned? See, this is where I am trying to use my life experience to the present time now that I am back. I try to use all these experiences to learn what I have done wrong in the past. So what I said is like the teaching of what we don't sort of point out. Howard is our instructor. and us are the students. Of course, we are in the sense of the word, but in the eye of our Heavenly Father, aren't we His children?
Yeah. I think with the college professor and the student, part of that is just showing respect, recognizing that they are in authority over you. They're the teacher. You don't tell them, they teach you. And so part of that is just showing respect for their position.
Yeah, I
Yes,
agree.
I agree. It's all about respect. But something I would like to make like emphasis is like, well, for me, like it's more valuable the relationship between like teacher and student than like a boss and employee, because well, your boss only need to like make sure that you are making or doing what you are expected to do. But like the relationship between like a teacher and a student is like more valuable because you are like gaining more knowledge. Well, personally, I this is that this is my like point of view, because well, I like share with you like with all my teachers of my high school. Well, they are currently they are my friends. I have them on my Facebook because like I really value this relationship with them is valuable for me because I have learned from them a lot of things. I have acquired a lot of knowledge, so it's like a sense of like gratitude, and I know that I can like ask them everything or whatever I need to know, and they will like share their knowledge with me. So for me, it's like more valuable. Perhaps the both of them needs like respect and like recognizing the authority of a teacher and the boss. But for me, it's like more valuable the teacher relationship because I am like acquiring knowledge and gaining more than with my boss. Mm-hmm.
I agree with that completely, actually. I think it's a lot more important relationship than with a boss. But,
Yeah.
Well, we all agree to, because we all have all this training from the church. Because regardless of how we see the professor and us, we are making the effort, but there should be one that can teach us. If we, for an example, if the world waited on me, and everyone turns out to be like me, I'm sure there would be no one to teach the students. But it has to be someone that has been educated to teach the next generation in order for the next, because it's a process that one goes on and the next lot comes in. So according to what we have learned and what Brother Yogi is saying, that of course we got to respect the higher education that another brother or another sister have. But I am only pointing out to the way I feel right now, that is the right way to do it. But at the same time, the teaching of the church is telling us a certain. See, remember how we learn empirical truths and endurance truths. Can you remember that part of our training, of our lessons?
yeah.
The empirical truth is what we learn as we, live our lives. And from time, what we learned 100 years ago was right. It can be wrong in your time. what I am trying to point out that what we have what we have learned of what the professor can always be wrong in a later state of our life. Would that be right?
Yes.
Would that be right?
If what we learn from our teacher, what?
If what we learn from our teacher, as we progress on in life, and find that the answer at this particular time is wrong in comparison to the time that we find out that the answer is a bit wrong.
Yes.
Then what are we saying?
That is because we learn from our experiences. Maybe they will like teach us something that we have like experienced our own experience, and we have gained our own knowledge, and maybe what our teachers taught us in the past could be wrong because we have gained our own experience. That is what are you trying to say?
Yes, that's what I am trying to say. So I'm not saying that it's wrong, but in the sense of what we are trying to find out today is that to give the credit to the professors and distinct us from. Of course we have to give credit to the higher educated people, but we are striving ourselves. I would say we can take the both. Would you agree to that, Carissa?
Mm-hmm.
To accept the both, because it's like the empirical and that's what I am trying to put through.
Yeah.
Now you got what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
We got to accept the both. Because we can, as we go on in life, we finally found out it's, so that's where I am coming from.
Yeah.
So the best answer for me is we have to stay with both of it. Agree to the fact that we appreciate having the professor and we appreciate having us.
Yes.
So,
exactly. Definitely need each other to learn.
Yes. Well, I like to bring back a scripture. It's D&C 130 verse 18 to 22. And if you look it up, it says, whatever intelligence you attain in this life, you'll take it with you to where? We'll take it with us to heaven.
Yep. So we gotta get as much as we can here on earth, right?
I'm just following what Sister Carissa is saying, that education. You're probably wondering why an old man like me. Do you remember what I said in my introduction? It's because that old man at 85 got his degree, and then the what do you call it? Self-reliance, what do you call it? Brother and sister. And when they tell me that, how old are you? My father-in-law got his degree at 85. And then he asked me, how old are you? And to me, it sounds like he was challenging me. What are you going to do about it? and then the following Monday, because this is Saturday on our wards, and the following, I'm going to take you up on that. And so I did. And that's why I end up, now that I am glad that I have made the decision to join Pathway, and now I end up I have learned something else, that Idaho College is not only just a college for academic, but it is a disciple college. That's what I have learned of Elder Bittner. Aren't we so grateful that we have attended the College of Disciples?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I know there's a reason why, because now I learn more spiritual stuff going to this college, but it seems that all my direction was pointed to Idaho. So you see, Yoki, it's not bad. The old fella is coming back for very strongly.
That's good.
Oh, well, did we cover everything we needed to, or do we need to talk about anything else?
There was one we
Well, I
missed.
think that's it.
12-year-olds.
What was that?
I think that's it. I think that's it.
There was
Because
one that
I
we.
am. What?
Oh,
What
there
was
was
that,
one that. We,
Okay.
Oh, yeah. But I'm going home teaching. I'm going to get changed and go home teaching.
Okay. We'll see you later, Paul.
later.
Okay, so who is going to be the next who is going to lead the next meeting?
I can do it. I haven't done it for a while.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, the same day, the same hour.
Yeah. So next Tuesday, 8 o'clock Mountain Time.
Okay.
Okay. Same
Okay.
time.
Well,
Sounds good.
Next Tuesday. I'm
Yeah.
still here. Don't run away. Is it
What?
Tuesday? I said, don't run away. I'm
Well-
still here.
Here. It's Tuesday here, but
Oh,
probably
and
not where you are.
Yeah. So
Wednesday-
basically,
It's Wednesday here.
yeah. So we'll meet at the same time we are right now next week.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
Same time, same day.
Have a nice
It's
week.
Wednesday for you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, Paul.
Bye. Bye.